Hello, dreamer. Welcome to the Driskill. You are joining me at the Driskill in downtown Austin. Now, the Driskill, if you haven't ever heard of it, is quite a landmark here in the city of Austin, Texas. It's been around for a long time. It's actually part of the Unbound Collection by Hyatt. And I don't stay at a lot of Hyatts. Just happenstance, I have nothing against them as a brand. But that means that we're in for quite a special stay. Room rates here are actually quite reasonable. Around the $250 mark for a holiday rate. Really, really good for a hotel of this significance and age. It was opened by a Driskill originally, and he was a cattle baron, and I'll tell you a little bit more about him and this hotel tomorrow because I've had a long day here, been enjoying the city of Austin, so I'm going to go to bed and I will see you guys in the morning. Good morning. I slept pretty good. Still got my morning voice on. I think I need some coffee because there's a whole bunch that I want to tell you about this hotel. So I'm gonna go find some coffee and get ready for the day, and then I can't wait to tell you about this historic property. Okay, so now that I'm looking a little bit more together, let's sit down and I can tell you all about my stay here at the Driskill. I think I mentioned last night that room rates for the holiday were around the $250 mark. I think for what you're getting, that's actually a pretty decent deal. I'll go into a few other costs later, but first let's talk about the history of the Driskill. It was finished being built at the end of 1886, and so 1887 was its first full year up and running, and it was built to kind of be the showpiece of Austin. It is the capital of Texas after all, and from it you can walk to a lot of the downtown sites, including the Capitol building if you want. It's really quite impressive. Whenever it was built, it cost Colonel Driskill $400,000-ish. So pretty sizable, especially considering the size of this hotel, which back in the day was huge, but by today's standards, it's not particularly large. There's actually only 2 elevators that serve the whole building. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about my stay in general. Whenever we arrived and throughout the entire stay, the valet has really been exceptional. They're just amazing bell people, valet people. They really go out of their way to serve you, open your door, be very courteous to you. They're pretty quick considering that they have to go quite a ways for your vehicle. Cost of that though is a whopping $55. I don't know when valet went crazy. I remember it was $35 and I used to freak out, and now we're in the 50s. There are cheaper overnight options in the area in garages if you want to self-park, but you're staying at the Driskill, which is a luxury accommodation. I would take the valet. The service is worth it. The first morning, we had breakfast at the little cafe on site. And I've actually had breakfast here before pre-COVID, and I just hadn't remembered. This place must have been on my list even back then, even probably before I was really into the luxury hotels and bringing you guys along. I don't really remember much about my breakfast back then, except for it was service at the table, and this time you actually lined up cafeteria line style to make your order, and then they brought your food to your table. Considering that breakfast for 3 people was $90 and I didn't actually get a meal, I just got a Bloody Mary, I don't think it was worth it. I wouldn't recommend it. There's a lot of amazing breakfast options downtown and around Austin. Phoebe's Diner comes to mind, but there's also many other options that you could try. So I would probably skip breakfast here at the hotel unless you just want it for convenience. The coffee wasn't very good. We got a giant cinnamon roll that looked amazing, but was actually kind of dry. I really wanted to try their 1886 chocolate cake and chocolate chip cookie that's still the original recipe, but since the food that my friends got was so mediocre, I just decided to skip it. I don't need to make a short about bad food, especially when that food is pretty expensive. So other food options for lunch and dinner, you have the option of going to the Driskill Bar and Grill. The ambiance in there almost can't be beat. I mean, you're like stepping back in time. It's really beautiful with leather couches and moody lighting and iron statues. Really, really pretty, and looks like a really amazing place to hang out. The vibes there are really good. Other amenities here. This is a old historic accommodation, so the amenity list is usually pretty low, and it is pretty low in this case. There is a small business center, and there's also a 24-hour fitness room. The room comes with steam showers. That's probably the most exciting thing on the list, but it is something. Here are my couple critiques for this property. First, is there are only 2 very old, very small elevators. That's not quite enough. I wish they had another one. Although, where are they going to put it in such a historic old property? So I guess I should be lucky that they even have a couple. The other problem is the bathroom is very, very small. I kind of wish they'd taken the huge, massive walk-in closet and maybe made that a water closet, or at least like an extra sink. You don't really need all that closet space, but you really could use more bathroom space. The shower's fairly normal size, but you get in that bathroom and you start feeling pretty claustrophobic, even though the ceilings are 16 feet tall. That is one of my favorites about this room, by the way, and that is the massive ceilings and the massive windows. The windows just face like the roof inner courtyard, so it's not really a good view, but they do let in a decent amount of light and they provide quite the presence in the room. Another favorite would be the valet. I've already talked about them. They are exceptional here, so I really recommend using them. Even if you're going to the bar and grill, maybe park with them for a few hours. The other shout out for the room is the sheets. I don't stay at a whole lot of Hyatt, so maybe it's a Hyatt particular brand, but I really, really love the sheets here. I would say that it's probably part of their Unbound collection and not necessarily part of the actual Driskill, but regardless, the sheets here and the beds are pretty good. Also, the bedroom size is really a good size. If you're splitting it with a group of people, you're not going to feel on top of each other. You have this outer suite space, and you have an espresso maker and a fridge. So amenity-wise, it really kind of ticks some boxes there for the room. So overall, would I come back? And the answer is absolutely. I actually really, really like this place. I can't say that I like it as much as Hotel Monteleone down in New Orleans, which I will hopefully be visiting again this year and bringing you guys along. But it is right up there with some of the best historic properties in the country, and I absolutely would recommend it. I think I would rate it probably an 8 out of 10. Pretty good, and absolutely would recommend to you guys if you're thinking about visiting Austin and staying here. I'd love to know where you think that I should stay next, though. I'll be bringing you along on lots of hotel stays and a few international travel trips this year. And I hope you're along for the journey. I'll see you in the next video, Dreamer. Bye.